Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Let's understand the desire. So first thing we need to learn namespace. What is a namespace? Let's understand this here. Now, when I look at the cluster, node 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hundreds of nodes. So, when I look at this, you have cluster and which is powered by multiple nodes 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the nodes. Now why I have created one node and total completely one compute unit? Because this is not I view. Kubernetes view entire data center of one node cluster or two node or 100 node cluster as a one computer. Okay. So this is the one compute unit for the Kubernetes, and he can create pods as per their node specification and availability, affinity, anti-affinity anywhere. So now let's say you have a three projects: project 1, project 2, and project 3. Now for your organization, 3 projects, 3 teams, 3 setup, 3 group of people, right? Like that. So we are running, let's say project 1 is creating, this is a project 1 pod. So if you create, let's say 4 pod, 1, 1, 1, 1, every node, it will create it, decided by scheduler. Each node you got a 1 pod, but for the Kubernetes, a 4 pod running in the infrastructure. Now for the project 2, it's like that. For the project 3, it's like that. So we got a 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes cluster and 3 projects running. Now one of the incident, what happens? In the project 1, there is a bug actually in the code. And because of that bug, it started consuming too much of CPU. So when this guy will consume the CPU and RAM, consume of this node, right? Correct now? Right?
Yeah.
So these started consuming so much of CPU or so much of RAM. And these two guys are not running at all. Because all the CPU is consumed because of the bug. This guy has consumed, and now project 2 and project 3 got impacted. Now project 2 management is shouting at project 1 saying that because of you guys we have a downtime. Our app is good. Our app has no issues, but downtime because of you. So it can be an issue. Now what happened after some time? Project 2 admin Okay, because you have admin project 1, admin project 2, admin project 3, admin means operation. By mistake, deleted or modify the pod specification runtime environment of the project 1 by mistake. So now the project 2 is being blamed by the project 1, saying that you guys spoiled my configuration, this, that and all. Okay. So this is one of the incident. It can be second instant. It can be like, this one. Or maybe third project also has something similar problem, sharing the same cluster with the project 1 and project 2. So how do we solve this problem? How do we solve the problem? Did you understand the problem first?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to solve this problem, we got a concept of subcluster. That means let's not give entire cluster to one project. Create a subcluster. So for the project 1, now if I see, for the project 1, created one cluster, project subcluster, project 2 created a subcluster, project 3 created a subcluster. See, I am not creating a cluster like this because cluster is sharing the resources across the nodes, because Kubernetes view as a one computer. Understand that. It's not like one node, one cluster. It's not like that. I'm creating the subcluster that also sharing this. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So now we got a cluster. So now every team can create their pod in their own cluster and everyone can be happy. Now cluster label, you can set a rule. You can limit that. You can only use maximum of overall 20 MB. That means whatever the pod you are running here, you can use only maximum 20 MB. At a cluster level, you cannot use it. Each cluster level also you can assign the different admin. So here you have admin, here you have admin. So you can assign different admin. So that way, this guy will not interfere the others work, other guy will not interfere this work. So this idea was good because that way you can manage the 3 different projects without, getting, bugging each other. So did you understand the concept of subcluster? Guys?
Yeah.
Guys, this subcluster concept, we call it namespace in Kubernetes. Okay? Namespace. So someone had asked me, right? What is a namespace? So namespace is basically dividing the cluster to logical group and limiting the resources and their access for the running the pod in a separate way. So limiting means resources means CPU, RAM, storage, and access means that what kind of access you want to give it to someone or not other people, like that. So did you understand the definition of names? Right?
I have a question here. So when you create this subcluster, right? So if for one project one uses more CPU than initial, right? So that time only the project one will be impacted, but not the 2 projects, right?
Yeah. So because now from now onwards, because the namespace has a limit, you cannot use more than 20. So even though the pod is having bugs and is being used, let's say more than 20 will not be allowed. So cluster will control. You cannot ask for more RAM, more CPU, like that. Are you getting open? Yeah. So this is called namespace.
I had one question. So when you said like we can set up the rules, so all the rules should be same for all these namespaces, subclusters, or like it will be one across
No.
for everybody the rule will be same.
No.
We can define as
Each namespaces rules and access can be different also. Let's say you say, okay, you get 20 GB, here you get 30 GB, here you get 40 GB, like that. So different formats you can set it up at a namespace.
yeah, from a project requirement we can set it, right?
Yeah, but it has to be under the overall capacity of a cluster.
Correct.
Okay, guys, so but what has happened? Then we allocated the namespaces now to the each project. So now you remember there were pods run by Kubernetes also, and I hope you remember now the discussion. These are the pods.
Yes.
These are the pods. Where is that? Here it is. These are the pods. So now where they will keep their pods. So Kubernetes decided for our pod, we will have one dedicated namespace. Okay. So Kubernetes also created one namespace, and that will have a system pod. Then Kubernetes said, okay. Then people ask, what about the pod which has a no namespace sign? So where these pods will go? So for this pod, Kubernetes created one default namespace. That means if you do not specify any namespace, that pod will be created for default namespace. Then people demanded, okay, for this project and for this project and for this project, there is a one common pod. So not this one, want to you host it, not this one or not this one, where that will go. So Kubernetes created one more namespace, and that is a public namespace. Then people said, okay, we do the node and maintenance also, monitoring also, some sort of cleanup also, like maintenance work. Operations people do that most of the time. Operations people. Node specific pod. That means you want to do through the pod but using in the node. So where do we keep it? Then Kubernetes created one more namespace which is called a node. So overall, what exactly you get it? You get a 4 namespace created by default all together, one for system, one for default, one for public, one for node, and then remaining project specific namespace you can create it wherever you want. So I hope the conceptually if you are understood. Now can I show you those namespaces? So kubectl get nf, and you see this is a namespace you have. Pod, default, node, public, system. Okay. Now next thing is how do we check which are the pod running in the system, because I want to check. So get pod hyphen all namespaces. Okay, name spaces. So here kubectl get pod hyphen all namespaces. That means show me the pod for all the namespaces. Okay, show me the pod of all the namespaces. And you see here Here it is. Look at this very carefully. First, let's understand where is the API server. See here. Now let's understand second one. What is that? etcd, right? Here it is. And which namespace running? You look at this here. Third one is controller manager, right? It's a manager, remember. And the fourth one is scheduler. And then after that, we have a driver. This is running in the master. Probably this is running in the node. Remember, one queue proxy is only also one queue proxy, one driver. One queue proxy, one driver. Okay, so all these things you saw that these are the pods. Now this is the discovery services. Okay, discovery services core DNS. Okay, earlier Kubernetes were using KHDNS, Kubernetes DNS, but they migrated from last 2 years, I believe, core DNS. Now what is a core DNS? It's a very popular product, but it's been used for the discovery. Here in the services they use most of the time. And many more use cases are there. So all together they have these two running in the master. So did you understand this, guys?
The queue proxy, right? There are two. Why there are two? One for master, one for the node.
Sir, you have to answer me now because you have to teach me why there are two.
Yeah, so that's what I said. One for master, one for node. We have one node and one master. That's why there are two.
Yes, because remember yesterday we discussed all these things. Each node you get a queue proxy. Don't you think so? Why we get it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because networking force.
Yeah. And one more question. So the column we see at the ready, right? Towards the last when we have WebNet, it says 2 out of 2. So what does it mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. Before that, I would like you to know this one actually, guys. Earlier I had an all namespaces. Now I'm showing you the output of wide. I don't know whether the full screen is visible to you guys well or not. But you see that IP address. So yesterday or I think yesterday only, someone has noticed which IP address these system pods get it. Look at the IP address of system pod.
Yeah.
That is my VM IP address. Remember?
Yes.
And look at the core DNS pod IP address. You know that is the which IP address? That's the pod network IP address. Okay. That means any system pod you run in the master. These are the one which I discussed yesterday. We spent almost half a day on this. So basically they get associated with the system one. Okay. So please be mindful about it. So yeah, there's networking is a different world altogether. But here, see that yourself only. Now, you must be saying that 1 by 1 and 2 by 2. Any guesses here? Because if you can use my discussions of yesterday, you can tell me very well. These are the pod. So what it can be 2 by 2? 1 by 1?
Replicas.
Think more.
Desired pods and running pods. Two desired pods and two running.
No. Something more. I think you can recall that. See, this is a pod. There were two pods. One pod, two pod. And pod has a ready status 2 by 2, 2 by 2. Each pod has, two pod has.
Containers.
Two nodes?
Yes.
Two containers?
Yes. Yes. I told you very clearly, remember pod may have one container. Pod may have a multiple container. if you have a multiple container, first container is being called as a main container, and second container is being called as the sidecar container. So please remember those discussions. That's the reason I said very important. So in this pod, VBNet pod, they have a two containers. Now why do they have their two containers? As per the design and development from the VBNet guys, they have a one client, VBNet client, and another one is a VBNet server. Now, if you again get into the architecture of VBNet, you'll understand they need those actually, server and client model to route the request. So they need it actually. So please spend some time over there and you'll understand this. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay guys, so now this is the namespace. I think, am I missing something else? So, okay. Guys,
Yeah, Rajesh, but one thing about the containers. So here this wave, right? So that will be running on the node, right? The containers. But in my machine, I saw 4 to 5 containers are running.
So your question is VBNet?
Yeah, this VBNet. I see. Can you go to the node, one of the node? I mean the
I'm
node.
in the node only, sir.
VBNet.
Master node, I am in the master node. You tell me.
No, not in the master, the worker node. Worker node.
Okay.
So if we run the Docker ps-e, right, it should show how many containers are running, right? So that should be the count here. You mean to say?
Docker PS.
Yeah. So here I see 5, right?
No, there's no 5 container for me. I see 3 container only.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it is 3 means the count should be 3, right? There.
Actually, it is a 5, but actually for me it's a 3. Why I said for me it's 3? Because I do not consider this as a container. This 2 is a container.
Okay.
Why? What is the reason? You should ask me, but I will answer in the networking topic. Only 3 container is running right now for the 3 pods. Tell me, what is the question now?
No, so it should be 3 in the master node, right? 3 out of 3, but it's showing 2 out of 2.
So, can you help me with it to find answer? Can you help me?
I don't know.
No, you have answer in front of you only. This screen only you have answer. Please look at it very carefully. Look at
Yeah, it means that two are in WebNet and one will be the core DNS.
Yes, you got it. Remember, IP address. Remember, one proxy runs in the node. You ask me to log into the node. So I log in node. Here I find basically 5 containers. But whenever you look at the pod container, no, please not count it. Simple. Not count it. Because that's not a physical container. That is been for some other reason. Okay? Do not see that physical pod container for some reason. But till now you understand the importance of pod container. I have a 3 containers, actual 3 containers. One is here, you see this weave.
Yeah, one is proxy here. Yeah.
And now you see here, you only,
Yeah.
correct, no?
Yeah. That's it.
Correct? Yeah. Any other question?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's move on to the next topic. By the way, guys, can you teach me how to copy the history commands from here? Anyone has this idea? I want to copy this
Yes,
whole
selected.
selected.
Just enter it.
Enter it.
Enter it.
And
Open the notepad and that's
okay,
it.
wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. So now I got this history. These are the commands I run. Okay. So I started from here. So let's not show older commands. So these are the commands. Now, guys, we have to understand that everything. Any one of you have got experience with the development? Anyone? Anyone have got experience with development?
In the sense,
API development or something?
Yes, Rajesh.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, tell me one thing. In API development, you develop the API. Now you will ask me to use it. Okay. You are a developer. I am a user. I am a testing guy. Or I am an end user. So how do I use API? Any API if you want to use, how do you use it? So your API is
Endpoint.
so let's create an endpoint. And here port 567 and then port number 56. So this is the endpoint, but unfortunately, you know that this endpoint we have not for one API, one endpoint. We have for every one API, one endpoint. So this is the endpoint for, let's say 6446, something like that, for API server. Okay. Because of that, we got API server. So I got one endpoint. That's cool. Endpoint, we got it. After that, what we do?
Slash the service name.
Class and service name. But that's the coding way, right? I'm the end user. API, how?
Then request on that.
That's good. So request. How do I send you the request? Tell me. Verb for this?
JSON.
That's the format is JSON. Format is JSON. How do I request?
Post await method.
Wonderful. So we call it CRUD operation. Correct now? Each API, we do the CRUD operation. What is the CRUD operation? Why same thing. Get, post, what is that? Delete. These are the things. Put, you know that. You guys are knowing that. So here, we mostly do the CRUD operation. CRUD means what? Create, read, update, and delete. That means if you put it in the verb word, create may be put and post. Read means get. Update means post. Put also it can be used in some scenario, to be honest. And then a delete. Are you okay with it so far? This is not Kubernetes. This is a global mechanism to communicate with API. Correct now? Right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. So if you understood this one, then you understood everything. So first question is, what are the list of API? First I will learn what are the list of API. And actually, I don't know. If I don't know what I will do, I remember only one command. Rest of the commands I don't want to remember. Okay. So what we do in this case? Here, clear the screen and so clear the screen and write a kubectl. Enter. And now I got to know so many commands. So I was not knowing any commands, but I got to know so many commands. If you see this skeleton, here you have a very good categorized basic commands, beginner, basic commands, intermediate, deploy commands, certificate management commands, okay, troubleshooting and debugging commands, and advanced commands, setting command, other commands. Now I want to know what are the resources available, because my topic is very simple, right? What are the list of API? So that's my requirement is very simple. So how do we go and get? So can you help me here? Can you help me here?
API resources.
Yeah, so you found out your answer yourself. I did not try it. So you only find out how many options are available. So kubectl API resources. Okay, cool. I got to know so many resources. You see?
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
I told you there are so many resources are there. See, name, short names, API group, namespace. Now you understand the namespace, so you understand that. And kind. Binding is one API resources that or let's say pod. Pod you know very well. Pod is one of the API resources. Short name PO. Why API group is empty? That's an interesting story. I will tell you. And then it says pod namespace true. Namespace true and false means there are some API resources which can be created inside a namespace only. Okay, you cannot create it outside. That means this object is unique to the namespace. That means it is a true. But there are some namespace which is at some API resources which is not for namespace, which is for the cluster wide. Cluster wide it can be used, and that namespace, that API resources is a namespace false. False. So now you see here, pod can be created in a namespace, so it is a true. But node is one of the namespace or API resources, where is that? Which you know very well. Nodes, can you look at this? I am not able to locate. Here, see, node, it is a false. Okay, namespace, it is a wide, cluster wide, not specific to namespace. So this way is a false. Guys, did you understand this? Yeah.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah. So I got to know there are so many names, so many API resources are there, and their short names also is there. I use short names because it's not, I don't have to type it. I'm very lazy guy, so I don't have to type. And then API group, their namespace true and false. And what is a kind? So kind, because see here, I told you very clearly yesterday, that means we have a registry. Remember concept. We have registry. We don't have one API. We have an API server. So when we have an API server, this server has multiple API. Multiple API, more than hundreds of it. Okay, including the system one also. But if I want to use it, because server address I get it, this is http ... something like that you get it, right? Server address, API server address I get it. But API server I should tell to API server which API I want to do the CRUD operations, which API I want to access it. So how do you select that? So that option is coming from kind. Yes, and this is a case sensitive, guys. Please remember. This is a case sensitive. So if you want to create a pod, I think in the discussion yesterday you have seen it. One last slide, kind pod, right? So you have to select pod. You can. If you want to create a service, kind service. If you want to create a replication controller, kind replication. If you want to create a deployment, kind deployment. That is how this API server will come to know, okay, you want this, you want this, you want this, you want this. Are you getting it? Yeah. It's like an index of the book. Okay. This guy is acting like an index of the book. So they have an index, and whichever the chapter you want to go, they will redirect the page number to you. Like that, something like that. So hopefully you are getting right.
I had one doubt actually.
Yeah.
So this kind and the sort name, like the name of, let's suppose I want to create a pod, so I have to use the kind as pod. So where do I use the name or sort name? Like if I use the kind as pod.
Where do you use? I have no idea. You have to tell. Where would you use kind pod? Tell me.
At the time of creation, we want to mention the pod to the API server. The API server knows, okay, I want to create a pod.
Something else? I think you know that answer. You're just try to recall. That's all. API server consume what? You do what?
JSON.
And you do what? What is your job in Kubernetes? Anyone else?
Administration.
Our service.
No. I said very clearly yesterday also. What is your job? You have no job, but one thing.
To have desires.
Yeah. And in where?
Into the API server in the form of
YAML.
Yeah.
You write, sir, you will write YAML and JSON. That's a desire. I told you declarative state and desire state. Desire will go to the YAML. YAML will be sent to the kubectl to API server. Then rest of the things you go, your work is done. I hope you remember that flow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then keep that kind, of course, in this document.
Okay, no, but my question was like the name, the sort name I use for the pod or the kind. So if I tell the API server I want to create a pod and I mention the kind as pod, so it knows, right, I want to create a pod. So whether I use the name or like the sort name.
Okay, you are saying why do we have a name, why we have a short name, correct?
As well as kind. Like if I know the kind, so my API server knows like what I want.
Okay, so this name is for you, for human being, and this kind for the YAML or JSON. This short name for command line. You might have seen me using it. Here.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Okay.
Yeah. But in short names will not work in the YAML. You have to use this.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, guys. So now I got to know. Okay, cool. So let's understand next topic. Guys, there's so many APIs. So ma'am, I think you are an API developer. Now, do you do the development only one time and release only one time, or every month or every half year or something like that?
2 weeks
Okay, wonderful.
we release.
So every 2 weeks we have a, let's say, first 1 week we got V1, then she has released V2, then she has released V3 every 2 weeks. Now some customer are using this feature. Some customer are using this feature. Some customers are using this feature. So this is called API version. Again, understand that. This is called API versioning. It's very simple concept. You know that. Nothing to talk about more into that. But the question is, how do I know which version I am having in Kubernetes? So which I don't know. Can you help me with it? Can you help me with it? How do I know which version I am having it?
API version.
Yeah. So you got to know. Okay, if I want to know each version of it, here I can run this command API version, and I get to know version. Okay, that's cool. You see here V1, V1 beta, V1, V1 beta, V2 here started. See here V2 started. Till now it was a V1 only, but V2 also started. So you see that this is the versioning. Now what is this? 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 What is this one? So actually, what is this? I'll tell you. When Kubernetes started developing initially, at a very initial stage, then there were only few API resources. Only very few. Maybe 10 or 12. So they did not create a grouping. Grouping means within a Kubernetes itself, they will not create a group. But over the period of time, you see that they started getting lots of resources. You see here. So they started saying that, okay, let's group together for easier management. So this I will group one, this I will group one, this I will group one, like that. So they started grouping it for the easier management of API resources. So now you see that they started grouping it here. See, authorization. So if you see this way, see here, all these resources, now it's become a part of some group. For example, group called storage, RBAC, networking related APIs, authorization related APIs, like this. So they started grouping. Now you must be wondering why these groupings are not there. Because at that time, these are the primary resources which got introduced and without a grouping. And these are the first few API resources which got introduced. So that's the reason we do not have a grouping. Okay. So wherever you find no grouping, that means you will find only V1. Okay. This means V1, no group, or directly versioning V1. So guys, did you understand the missing grouping concept and grouping concept?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now you have understood many things yourself only. Now, what do we do actually? So that,
Rajesh, one quick question.
yeah.
This grouping is only for our user readability or has any part in the declarations that you do?
No. Declaration, it has no relationship. You can use for the declaring, sorry. It has a declaration relationship also. In YAML, whenever you declare, you have to declare group.
Right, you have a keyword, but what I'm saying is the resource name is still unique. Even if you don't provide it, it does work, right?
It will work, yeah. Resource name
Yeah,
and is equal to unique, but which version you want to use, you have to, for versioning purpose, you have to use this grouping. For example, let's say if you want to use, let's say if you want to use deployment. So, see here. Here, deployment. So in this case, you have to use apps V1. Let me see. I think the V1 only. V1. So version name apps V1. Apps is representing the group name, and version 1 is representing the version.
Okay.
Okay. So whatever the version I need to choose, I have to choose for the group level, right?
Group level. Yeah. Because if you say only version, see here, understand the problem. If you see only V1, then it will consider this one. So you cannot say like that. You have to, whenever you select the version, you have to give the full name. Yeah.
Okay.
So that way it's organized.
What command did you give Rajesh here for this to get the version?
Same command, no? API version. You only find out, right?
Right.
QCTL. If you go to other commands, you have API resources. Will print all the supported API on the server and version of that API.
Yeah, it says group/version.
Yeah. So like, okay. So now you got it. So guys, apart from that, everything is good. So which are the API resources? So history. Now this learning is very simple, not very dedicated. Just you have to have an initial understanding, and after that you have.
I just have a question. So this kind is unique, right? So when you mention kind, what kind we are going to use in the JSON, right? So do we need to worry about the versioning?
Yes, you have to specify, no? You have to specify that what is the resources and what is the version of resources which you want to use, which includes the top name and area.
Okay.
Think logically. Again, think about in API server,
How do I know
you have multiple API. Okay, multiple API. And each API you have multiple version also. So if you want to declare in YAML, I want to use it in this API, you have to tell, right, kind, that means this API. Then you have to tell version, that means this one or this one or this one. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. I was saying, if there are different versions, so how do I know these any compatibility thing? I know like which version I have to use.
Okay. So that confusion you don't have, because the moment you run API version, whatever is supported by your server, it will print it here. That is the first thing. Okay. But along with that, any previous version is also supported. So here you see very carefully look at this. You will get answer.
Yeah. So if tomorrow version 2 will be stable, so I will not see version 1?
No sir, you see that selected one, you have answer. Auto scaling version 1 is also there.
Auto scaling I have.
Version 2, beta 1 also supported. Beta 2 is also there. So if you see in the version, if you see, this is the latest one. Okay. In the latest one, if you want to see which API and which version is supported, you can see from this command, two commands. If it is not listed, then is the concern. You have to downgrade your Kubernetes.
Okay, I have done my whole. Okay, I understand.
Because, and in fact, you don't have to download the downgrade the Kubernetes. Your Kubernetes itself is running on the old version already. So if
Okay. I got it. So tomorrow if I upgrade or like I downgrade my Kubernetes, so it will be coming with all the supported versions, whatever supported for that Kubernetes.
Yes. And you have to rewrite your YAML file also a little bit.
Correct. I got it.
And there is, by the way, there is a command for export. I mean, if you have an older version and if you got a new version, there is one simple command will upgrade every code of you. You don't have to do anything else, but upgrade the code by them on. By the way, I don't know what is that command which will upgrade. Can you help me? So, can you please help me?
Convert?
Yeah. So you got this, right?
Yeah.
So, everything is so easy now. I told you. Okay, so good. So, after this, so here, each API will have a CRUD option. Create, because you know that why CRUD option. Create, update, CR, read, no? Read, update, and finally delete. Now the question is, how do you do this CRUD operation? All this operation. Okay, internet. How do you do that? So, for doing all these operations, you can do through command line. Yeah, that is true. You can do through the command line also. And you can do through YAML also. Both the way. So, creating you can do through command line. Reading you can do through command line. And YAML, most of the time you don't need it actually this one. Okay, because command line also. And updating also you can do through command line and YAML. And deleting also you can do that through command line. When I say command means command. YAML means YAML. Same thing. When you create or read, update and delete. One more thing. Each API has the kind. You have to declare it. This declaration you should not forget. Kind. If you are in a YAML format, okay? Just. And you have to tell version. If it is a command line, you have to tell short name. Or long name also you can keep it, but no one is using this. So in YAML, if you want to tell what you want to do, kind and version you have to declare. Command line you have to use a short name. I showed you already. So please ignore it. See here, the short name. Okay. Now guys, when you create, so what command do you use it? Create. With YAML, create. When you read it, what command you will use it? Get. When you update it, what command you will use it? Edit. In YAML file, apply. When you delete it, one command you will use it? Delete. And YAML file, delete. Guys, did you understand? Table. Now let me show you. See, create. Creating any resources. I am talking about any resources, each API. Don't tell me only pod or I am teaching you pod or any resources. If you want to create it through command line or YAML, command will become a create. See here. If you want to get it, get it. If you want to update it, update it. Edit, apply. Where is apply?
Yeah, I saw that somewhere.
Should be in the advanced command.
I saw it somewhere.
Advanced command is
Yeah,
found.
yeah.
See. Okay. And if you want to delete it, which is somewhere here. Edit is here. That is. Okay. So this is the stuff. Okay. So now, first let me try with the command line. Okay. Create, read, update, delete. What? First, name. So you will get confident what I'm talking about. So here, command line, okay? So let me do that. First thing, kubectl get what? Name. Okay? Can I create what? Name. Rajesh. Dev. See here. Now get. See? Created one for dev team, one for myself. Can I edit? Edit. See here. Look at the table. Always. When I edit, command line. When you apply, YAML. Edit. Namespace. See here. You can say via editor. You can modify if you want it. Q. Okay. And can I get done, edit done, delete it? So delete it. What? Namespace. Rajesh. See? Did you understand that now? How it's easy?
Yeah. So I have a question, right? So when you do a delete, right? So by mistake, when we try to delete the system namespaces, the default namespaces, right?
Okay. Suicide is not allowed that way. You are able to run those commands because of the system namespace only, the pod. The suicide is not allowed.
Okay, good.
Because this command is working because of them only, right? Getting a point?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So this is the one. So easy right now. So now namespace is clear. Can we go ahead with the next? So guys, follow these steps every time. Again, I'm repeating, every API, whichever you are using this. Okay. Now I have to create a pod.
How about the YAML style of doing it?
Yeah, same thing you can do with YAML also. Okay, but I'm moving to pod. I'll teach you that one. Okay.
Okay.
So guys, this was okay. Fine. Now I want to create a pod because I told you, right? These are the resources we're going to learn today and tomorrow. Okay. So now it's a pod, and pod is a most important object what you have. So can we create a pod? Let's go ahead. What you want? kubectl create pod. But this is a confusion actually. It's confusion because why I'm having, because I can create a pod, but pod required image and few more parameters like a port, this, that and all. So how do I specify? That is a question. How do I specify? I don't know how to do that. That is a problem. So if I don't know, then what I would do or you should do. So I should go till the sub command and click add -h. Right? This is the most powerful command which you can get it. Only instead of googling it, have a habit of this. Very powerful command. Any commands which you don't know has an H. Enter.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
Now I know which are the options are available. I know which are the sub commands are available. I know some examples. I know, and what it can do: create a resources from a file or stdin means file means YAML or JSON, or stdin means command line.
Command.
But the question is available commands. Can you create a pod? Help me with that. Can you create a pod through command line? How? Tell me.
But how it will be registered to the node? I mean, which node of this pod has to be created?
Just forget about it. That's a Kubernetes. We'll talk about later. But can you create a pod? Let's try to create a first pod. Pod is a one API. So how to create a pod? Can you create a pod? Create command has available commands to create a pod. So it has an option for creating a namespace, deployment, service. But pod option I am not able to find. Do we have it?
No.
No.
Yeah, here this image, right? So this is a Docker image, right?
Where?
Image means?
Which one?
No, you mentioned the image right here. From where we have to create the
First you
pod.
create a pod and require the input as an image name. Input as an image. Pod has a container.
Okay, so,
Comes from the image.
okay, so that is the Docker image. That can be the Docker image or any other container
Yeah.
framework image, right?
Yeah. So guys,
But how it knows this is a Docker?
default runtime for the Kubernetes Docker. That's the reason we installed Docker, no?
Okay. No. If anything, any other than Docker, if you want to have other container framework, how to mention it?
You have to
Is there any option we have?
you have to register kubelet telling that don't talk to Docker anymore. For runtime you have to talk to that another tool. For that configuration required changes.
Okay.
Kubelet.
Okay.
Can I do like can I configure the kubelet in different nodes? Saying I have images of different, like let's suppose in one node I have Docker image and another node I have different. I can configure them, right?
Why you are thinking so much? I am not. What is the use cases? Before having any requirement, think about the use cases. Look at the architecture. How can you think of images having in the different machine and container is running on a different machine? You know that Docker very well, right? You know the concept of local registry and then GitHub. So no matter where the images is there, Git and Docker will download at any cost to the local registry, which is var lib Docker. I told you it spends so much of time. Getting?
No. My question was, so what I asked is like let's suppose I have two nodes, and in one node inside pod I want my image to be Docker image, and another node my image would be a different. It's not would be different, and it's not would be Docker. So I can configure that in different kubelets of different nodes, right?
Okay. So you are saying your question
Like is it mandatory that the cluster?
Your question is like that. Kubernetes, can it support multiple runtime environment at a time, at a one Kubernetes cluster? Is that your question? Yeah. So
Correct. Yeah.
question
That will be.
whether it supports or not. To be honest, I need to check. But one thing I know that for sure, you can set a default one for sure. So kubelet configuration file, is there any option where you can configure the runtime? That I need to check. So I cannot tell you for sure because we never used any other runtime till now, till today in the production other than Docker. Nowadays we are using Podman, that is also under production, under development also. Podman is very popular nowadays, but under development. So there is no alternative stable runtime environment for the production. So I never got into that topic, but it's a good use cases we can have in future. I can do some research and let you know.
Okay. Okay.
If you look at the architecture wise, it may be possible because understand that Kubernetes is managing a pod. But who decide pod need to be filled with a container? Kubelet. And kubelet runs in the every node. So if I look at the architecture and possibilities, yes, with the minimal configuration, it can be possible. But whether it's there or not with the Kubernetes, I need to Google it.
Okay.
Okay. So I was talking something else actually. I lost the track.
Creation of pod.
Creation of pod. Correct. So here,
Created for pod.
Yeah. So here we are having pod, and I was saying something. Yeah. So you see here, there is no available command for creating a pod. So yes, that's true. Not every time you get every command to create each resource, but YAML is supported. Understand that. YAML is supported, but command line is not available. That does not mean you cannot do through YAML. You can do through YAML. I want to create a pod. Yes, of course I want to create a pod. So I will use YAML. So now I will not go to the my nodes and all. The simple pod YAML example. Simple. Google will be much faster than any other. Okay. And click on any URL. Don't worry about any URL, and this is a complicated pod.yaml you were about to get, but I don't want that complicated. I want a simple one. Because if I complicate, you get lost. Right? This is a simple one, by the way. Okay. Now, you see here, I've been telling you, if you use YAML, you have to specify kind and version. So here you see kind and version. Pod is a V1 because it's the initial release. What is the name you will give it? So let's say Varas 1. Label, name is unique as per the namespace. So pod has specification. So pod has specification which is a container SCA. One container, two containers. Okay guys, are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So this is the container. Now I'll go with the one container only, not interested. Now what is this front end? Varas 1, I change the name, label let's be as it is. So this is the simplest YAML which you can have it for the pod. First let me create it and then talk about it. So,
What is the name, Rajesh? Is it the namespace name?
okay. What is the name? So let me correlate. Do you remember in a Docker, whenever we were creating any object, then you were getting the unique name assigned by them, or even you have to assign it sometime. Depends on you. Every container, every volume, right?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Name is the unique. Understand that. Name is the unique way to identify that resources. So you created a pod, but after that, how do I identify that pod? So this name will be expressed for you. And this name, because pod is created inside a namespace. Okay. Inside a namespace, then a name has to be unique within a namespace. For example, let me put it up in this way. Let's say your family and my family. We have a two family. Now, your family decided to keep your name Rajesh. Now, would they keep the Rajesh name to some of other family members also? No, because that way it will be too much confusion. Who's Rajesh you are calling at that time within your family? But my family also can keep the name Rajesh and not duplicate. Are you getting my point? So that way,
Yeah.
identification can be easily done. So that is the way
Okay.
Name is a way to identify that resources, and also name has a scope where it will be valid. That means where it will not be duplicated and something like that. Just like a home example I gave it to you. Okay. So
Okay.
no,
But here we did not mention any namespace, right? So it will be under default.
yes, you got that point. If the pod has
Okay.
no namespace, then where it will go? Default.
Default.
Yeah. But
So under default, I cannot have any other pod on this name, right?
Wonderful. Yes, yes. You cannot have it.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. By the way, namespace you can provide on the command line also. You can write it here also, but the command line also. There's so many options out there. Okay. So let me not get lost here, and let me directly create a pod. Where is that? I see. So clear the screen, and now if I see where I am, so many directories are there. Okay, I'll create my own directory in this Rajesh, and I want a clean environment actually. So guys, this is my directory, okay? And there's no file. So can I create a one pod.yaml? So vi pod.yaml. What I did, sorry. I think I copied. From the outside.
I doubt this is possible.
Oh, not possible?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
You can Google it here in this browser and you can copy.
Yeah. Just a second, let me try one more time. Oh. Okay, no problem.
You can commit it to the Git. No, you can commit it to the Git and you can just put it there.
Not a problem. I have that. Just a second. Not a problem. I have that many examples of it. Not required to commit to it. Let me go to that. Okay guys, so I need a note actually. So here I'll create a note for all of you. Desktop. I think it's a day 4, right? Here. Okay guys, so same code you see here, same code, image name Nginx, 80 port, same code. So now, see that I copied here. Now what I will do, can you help me with it as per my logic? Tell me, what should I do? Logic. Create, right? Yeah. So, qctl create -f pod. Now, this is qctl get pod. See, creating. Where is that? Void see one container. Where it is creating, you see here.
So this Nginx image, right? So that will be automatically downloaded from the registry.
Yes, of course, that's a default registry. Docker is a default registry. See here. This is a pod IP address. Okay. But here, where is this pod line? Default. You want to see that pod -- all name spaces. See here. This is a namespace. See here. Okay. Now I want to create one pod inside a Rajesh namespace also. Sorry, -n. N means namespace. What is this? So Rajesh is not available.
Because we deleted them.
Yeah, I deleted. So now ns, a dev. See, same name I created. Why? Because same combination, name has to be unique as per the namespace. See, same name, hello pod, but namespace different. Can I try to recreate in the same namespace? See. See that? Okay. So this is the way you can create, get. Now you want to modify. So for modify, there is just 2 options. Edit, apply. Edit means command line. So I want to edit. So what? Edit. What you want to edit? Pod. Which pod? Hello pod. Okay. Edit. Now you are editing. Not every field you can edit, by the way. Let me tell you. Not every field. There are few fields which is allowed you to edit. Now how do you find it? I'll teach you that one also. But I am editing some field. So more or less I can update images or meta information. Okay.
There were 2 hello pods, right? Which one is editing?
You tell me. I run this command. Which will it will modify?
Default.
Right. Because if I want to modify the hello pod of dev, then I have to specify -nm is equal to dev. Understand that? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm looking for that meta information. This is a spec. This is a name. Name I cannot modify. I am telling you because I know that. But sometimes if you don't know that, just you can. I'll teach you that method. I'll teach. So let's modify app and the label I modify. Done. See, edited, completed. If I do edited without modifying anything, then it will say not edited. No changes made. You see. So edited. So this is the one way to edit. Vi pod.yaml. This is another way to edit. If you see here, you want to modify it to 2. How do you do that? Any idea? QCTL?
Apply.
Yes. Apply. -f pod.yaml. Default only. If I do this one, then it will be different. See here, configure. Okay. So it's a warning, just ignore it. And hello pod. So guys, this is the way you can create a pod. Now you know one thing, I want to delete. Both the way you can delete. Command line, YAML. So first I will delete through the command line. No, first delete through the YAML file. This is a default. I am deleting. This is a redeleting. See, that is not accessible. Can I delete through the command line that was in dev? So delete pod. What is the pod name? Hello -pod and -n is equal to dev. And guys, you see that both the hello pod has gone. So it's very difficult or not? It's very easy. According to me, I don't find any, challenges. I don't know what about you, but I don't find any challenges. So I copy that inside this thing. All the commands, the way I explained it to you, is there. Did you find any difficulties for this?
No.
Any doubts? Anyone else has? So guys, pod. This is the pod. Now we have not used it, by the way. It's like lifecycle error, but I will use it. Okay. One important question is I have in my mind. I'm getting irritated from this option. How to write, what to write, what value to be given, what value not to be given, which is optional, which is not optional. I am not liking this. But if you are not liking it, then again you will start liking when you see hundreds of options. Okay? And then you will start liking it because there is hundreds of options, not this one. Whatever I mentioned in the pod, that was that's a required one, minimal one. Okay, so it's like you create a EC2 instance. Remember, in AWS, I don't know how many of you work. So there is only 2 required: AMI ID and type. Rest of the things will take a default. But if you want to give it each and every option, then you have more than 100 options. Anyone who have worked with the AWS?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So now let's try to find it out. And one more thing, guys. I'm not teaching you individual API. I'm trying to teach you your logic. I'm trying to build your logic. Not like, okay, this is a pod, this is how you create this data. So try to understand me. It's not applied only for the pod. Again, I'm repeating again and again. This logic you can apply for any any pod, whatever you have available.
I think we should remove CMD create, right? Because that is not possible.
No,
Command line create.
it is possible, but not for all. Not for all. I created a namespace using this CMD only, right? Remember? See,
Okay, sorry, not space, but the pod I'm talking. Sorry.
so that way I don't want to write it. I told you how to find it out. There is one command.
Yeah, right. Yes. Action H.
L create hyphen h.
Okay.
Right? So this is the most important command which will teach you not only this one, many things. Important. Hyphen h will tell you examples, patterns, allow, not allow. So guys, I am very curious to know what are the options available, what are the options not available, which is required, which is not required, what value is allowed for each field, what value is not allowed, but how do I get it? Don't get scared, but you have to accept. This is a very easy if you start in this way. First thing I want to learn. So any commands which will help me to learn all the fields of the each resources, API resources. Do you have any commands?
Describe.
Show details of specific resources and group of resources. So this is a resources detail. If it is after running, it will use. I am looking for something better, which will explain me API resources spelled.
Explain.
So guys, you found out the command. I did not explain documentation for resources, of resources. So how to use it? So qctl explain. I don't know. Enter it. What they are saying, provide a resources. If you don't know, go and get it from here. Okay, go and get it from here. Okay, fine. I know one of it. Pod. Can you tell me what are the options? See here, guys. API version, kind, metadata, spec, status. This is runtime, okay? This is runtime. So you see. Now, what are the types? String, object. Now, what are the options we have in spec? How do we get to know? Go spec. Oh, cool. Scroll down now. Don't get scared. You will love it when you start seeing that all the features. See it. But look at this integer, boolean. See, containers was required. Type is object. So, containers. Object means multi-option. Okay. So, containers. Do we have any more required? Read it. It's a gradual learning. You have to build it. This method will apply for every API resources. Again, repeating same lines. Probably get irritated, but you have to hardcore. You should not ask anyone.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $3.99 plan and grow your skills immensely.
If you want the field option, you should try here. You will change NS. You will change replication controller RC. You can change deploy. I'm just was spelling mistake. Deploy. So guys, are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Guys? Now, because it's required, containers is required. See, where is the container? It's required, and it is an object, not a string, not an integer. So I have to go and check what is inside object, inside the container. So dot, see, again you see so many options. Containers inside it, command, in, image, policy, this, that. And everyone has some significance. Everyone has some significance. Lots of options. So like that, that's the reason I decide always I'll teach you the pattern, because you see there are more than 60 user API resources are there. For each resources there are tens of fields. For this tens of field again there are tens of fields. For those tens of field again there is a tens of field, and each of these has a significance. So don't get lost. Understand the pattern, but explain command also learn. So if you want to know one question, how do I know? What are the fields? Ask them, not Google. Run this command. So I hope now you got little bit more information. Okay guys? So this is done. This is done. Now the question is how to use. Remember, we run the container workflow, but if you are not using container, then what is the use of it? So how to consume container? Sorry, pod. Pod is a very important one. So you have to consume, right? So consuming you will do at a later point of the time, but here when I say consume, that means play basically, nothing else, play. You will play with pod. Because consumption, if you remember, consumption, you are not the one who is doing it. Your end user will do that. Okay. But here, just consume, I am trying to explain it. So first thing, how to access pod on browser. How to go inside pod. Wrong statement, but still I am using it. How to describe a pod. How to see a log of pod. Wrong statement again. But still I am using it. You will understand yourself. Okay, how to see a log of pod. How to copy inside pod, copy file inside a pod. Wrong statement. Still I'm using it. Why I'm saying wrong? Anyone got a clue of it?
Because we should not do these things manually.
No. Actually, every time I am using pod. But are you really getting inside a pod? Because pod is a logical wrapper.
Container.
Yes. Think about it. Pod is a logical wrapper. It's not a physical stuff which you can experience it. You can hear about them. You can talk about them, but you cannot experience it. Actually, when you want to experience, you have to experience the container only. If you say you want to go inside, that means you want to try to go inside the container. When you say you want to see the logs, you want to see the logs of the container. When you say you want to copy a file, actually you want to copy a file in the container. That's a physical entity. Pod is a logical entity. To manage the containers and make it accessible from outside of the world, pod was created so Kubernetes can understand the pod. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys,
Yeah.
these are the things. Can I do that now? How to access pod on the browser? Let's do that. So here, first CTL.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.